We're talking free agency on today's edition of Panthers Today by Chat Sports, as your Carolina Panthers could take advantage of the Dolphins and their cost-cutting moves they made earlier this week. We're going to break it down on today's show. But before we do, I want you guys to go down below and hit that thumbs up icon, like today's video, because Falcons Today host Trace Mustakis was talking very crazy about us earlier today in the Chat Sports offices here. He was saying, Falcons, we get 400 likes on every single video. Panthers, you can't get it on one. Prove him wrong. Prove the division rival wrong. Trace Mustakis over there at Falcons Today, and hit that thumbs up icon, like today's video. All right, so the Dolphins released some pretty notable names here, as Tyreek Hill will now be a free agent, as well as Bradley Chubb will be a free agent, as well as James Daniels, one of their better guards on the roster, will be a free agent, and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine has been cut as well. The Dolphins doing this to save a lot of money for their 2026 cap and beyond. And just some guys, honestly, if you look at a common thread here, who have been injured over the past few seasons. And we're going to start by talking about Tyreek Hill, a guy who is currently injured, as a matter of fact. Had that wild knee leg injury, bent the wrong way early on in 2025, and now he will be a free agent. But according to Pro Football Doc David Chow, he's saying that Tyreek Hill is not expected to play until late 2026. He wouldn't be joining his team on the football field until very late in the regular season. So is it really all that worth it? Well, I'll tell you this, Tyreek Hill would add a unique sense of speed and just quickness to this Panthers team that they don't really have in the wide receiver room at this current time. Ted McMillan, obviously your big frame wide receiver. You can throw it up to 50-50, good down the sideline, solid over the middle too, but you haven't been running him in that regard as much. Jalen Coker can really work at any level of the football field, but doesn't have that top-end speed like Tyreek Hill does. I will say, probably does have a little bit of a step taken back in his career over the last few seasons. 2024 was not a good year for him at all. He's probably never going to be that player who was amassing 1,800 yards a season in the first couple of years of Miami or the last couple of years in Kansas City when he was one of the best receivers in the NFL. And all this kind of culminates in Spirac giving him a contract projection of 1 year, $5 million. So it would be a very, very cheap addition for this Carolina Panthers team, but how likely really is it that Tyreek Hill is a Carolina Panther? Look, I think that Carolina is in a unique situation where they have enough talent in the wide receiver room to where they could allow Tyreek Hill to rehab and recover and join the team late in the season, and it wouldn't be that big of a hit to the offense in the first, 10, 12 weeks of the season, because this is who the Panthers operated with last season, and they were a pretty solid offensive unit and passing unit. So they could allow Tyreek Hill to wait out for most of the regular season, then join the team late. But let's not kid ourselves here, guys. He's not going to be a Carolina Panther. This guy's going back to the Kansas City Chiefs. We all know it. And if that's not the case, then he's probably going to go somewhere where there's a little bit higher of a floor than the Carolina Panthers have as far as being a playoff and Super Bowl contender here. Sure, Hill's certainly going to go to a contending team, but he's probably going to want to go to a team that he believes has, a top 5 chance of winning the Super Bowl, top 10 chance of winning the Super Bowl next season. I would say the Panthers are a bit beyond those metrics right now, so we'll see if he ends up picking a team like Carolina. I would highly doubt it, though. But the only way that they could end up signing Tyreek Hill is if they overpay him a little bit. Maybe they give him a year for $8 million, a year for $10 million, and fill his pockets just a little bit more. Should the Panthers try to do that? Should they go out there and try to sign Tyreek Hill? It won't be for $5 million. They'll take another opportunity for that number. But if they overpay him, they could get him in the building potentially. Should the Panthers try to sign Tyreek Hill? S for sign or P for pass? Comment down below. Bradley Chubb? That's a name I'm a little bit more intrigued by. That's a name I'm ready to take a little bit more seriously than Tyreek Hill here for your Carolina Panthers this offseason. Over the cap has him valued at about a $12.2 million a year deal. Maybe you put him on a 1-year contract because he's dealt with injury in the past few seasons. Maybe you put him on a 2-year prove-it deal and you have an out after year 1 in case you want to bring him back. I think it's a fine projection for Bradley Chubb. I'd even pay a little bit more than that because this is a guy who's gotten 8 sacks every single season he's been healthy over the past 4 years. In 2024, he did tear his ACL, and this is a guy who's had 3 ACL tears dating back to high school. But when he's healthy and out there, man, he's a really, really good football player. 48 pressures in 2025, and that was in a down year, in a year the Dolphins were bad. In 2023, when they were actually a good team, he had 70 pressures, and that was the season he was traded from Denver to Miami there. And then 11 sacks as well, 54 pressures in 2022. This guy can get in the backfield and get to the quarterback. And like Tyreek Hill, Chubb's going to want to play for a playoff team too. I don't think he's going to have that same level of, opportunity to go wherever he wants in that scenario, because teams, not everybody can afford to pay Bradley Chubb, the 12 to 15 million that he's going to command in free agency here. So it will be a shallower group of teams looking for his services, and I absolutely think the Carolina Panthers should be one of them. Sayre Bettinger over at NFL Spin Zone thinks similarly and loves the fit for Bradley Chubb in Carolina, saying that Chubb played for Panthers defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero when the two were with the Denver Broncos back in the 2022 season. Although Chubb was traded to the Broncos during that season, it wasn't because Chubb struggled to fit in Evero's defensive scheme. On the contrary, as a matter of fact, Chubb had 5.5 sacks and 8 QB hits in the 8 games with the Broncos that year, and the history with Evero could help him adjust to the defensive scheme quickly. So he knows people in the organization. He has relationships with leadership here in the Carolina Panthers. It makes a lot more sense than a team that he would have no familiarity with whatsoever. I would seriously be shocked if Carolina didn't at least try to go out there and get Bradley Chubb. He's a name that, just produces at the end of the day. He puts quarterbacks on the ground at a pretty high clip when he is healthy. That's a big if, though. He's got to be out there. He's got to be healthy, and he can't be wasting Carolina's money there if he's sitting on the sideline with like season-long injuries. Now, in terms of where Carolina's going to go this offseason, Dan Morgan has said the pass rush is a priority. We didn't get to the quarterback at a high enough clip. And look, it doesn't take a genius to know that. Like, the Panthers were 31st in like pass rush win rate and pressure rate. Like, they were near the bottom of the league in all those categories. And it's because they just don't have enough talent on the edge, personally. Like, they just don't. So they need to go out there and upgrade in that spot. And I think they could upgrade in the wide receiver room and in the weapon room on offense as well. It's not just me who's campaigning for Tyreek Hill, and it's not just Sayre over at NFL Spin Zone who's campaigning for Bradley Chubb. Like, own Panthers are campaigning for these two guys to come to town. Somebody tweeted at Robert Hunt and was like, "See if we can get Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb in your Charlotte home there to play for Carolina in 2026." Robert Hunt replied and said, "Bet. Y'all are welcome to stay with me. I got room." The former Miami Dolphin doing a little bit of recruiting here for Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb. Absolutely love to see it. I hope one of them ends up in a Panther jersey in 2026. Who'd you choose? Now, you got to keep in mind here, Tyreek Hill is going to cost $5 million. He's also not going to play until the end of the season. Bradley Chubb, you hope, is going to play the entire season, but he's going to cost double-digit millions. What do you guys think? Who would you sign out of these two players? Tyreek Hill, drop a TH. Bradley Chubb, drop a BC. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Now, we got to talk about how the Panthers actually do go out there and make these moves. What do they have to do financially to get these deals done? Because Bradley Chubb is going to cost $12+ million. Well, the Panthers only have $12 million in cap space as it's currently projected. That includes the increased cap space for 2026 that the NFL is going to be given to all 32 teams. The Panthers are going to rank 19th in terms of cap space heading into this new league year. So they got to make some moves in order to improve this roster, not only re-signing players, signing the draft class, but also signing external free agents as well. How do they get there? Let's start with A'Shawn Robinson, the most likely cap-related cut. And we're going on all these moves here were brought up by The Athletic and the Panthers beat team over there. They dropped a bunch of just different avenues for the Panthers to free up money here for 2026 free agency and other offseason needs. So A'Shawn Robinson, D-tackle, you're going to save $10.5 million if you cut him. It's a no-brainer, guys. I'm sorry if you like A'Shawn. If you think he's produced, that's fine. You can find another guy who's as good as A'Shawn Robinson in the draft for a fraction of the cost. You cut him every single day, every single year, if he's going to cost $10.5 million. That you save. A trade candidate for the Carolina Panthers, Andy Dalton. Now, the trade market isn't going to be crazy. It's going to be like a 7-6 swap plus Andy Dalton going the other way. But Dan Morgan has come out and said that he wants to upgrade a lot of these position groups this offseason, including quarterback, potentially getting a younger QB2 to compete there with Bryce Young. So we could be seeing Andy Dalton on his way out. If it's not via trade, you cut him and you save $2 million as well. You only save an additional $200,000 if you find a trade partner for him. An extension candidate, because you could free up money by extending players as well. The NFL is so fun, isn't it? Damian Lewis, a player who you just signed 2 years ago, but is going to be saving you $9 million if you extend him this offseason. He's been a very productive player. He's been durable. Like I like Damian Lewis a lot, and I think he should be a part of this Carolina Panthers franchise for the foreseeable future. So why not give him an extension, give him a little pay bump, and get that money kicked down the line here, save $9 million this offseason. Another extension candidate could be Tommy Tremble. Now, I've had him on my cut candidates list prior because if you do cut Tommy Tremble, you save $6 million as opposed to $3.4 if you give him an extension. But the reason to bring back a guy like Tremble here, give him a little bit of a pay bump, is because he is the Panthers' best blocking tight end here. So it would make sense for Carolina to keep him in town. If they wanted to add a guy like Kenyon Sadiq, they could maybe cut somebody else in that tight end room. But Tremble being your best blocking tight end, it might be valuable to bring him back, and you save some money if you extend him. A maybe extension from the people at The Athletic, they said, what about Mike Jackson? You only save $3 million if you extend him. Like, is that really that big of a saving to where you have to do it? And he's getting older a little bit. He had his best season by far as a member of the Panthers this past year. So I'm not so sure that would make too much sense for me, but I get it if they want to make that move and save a little more money. Those moves in total, if you made all five, or is there 5 or 4 there? It would be 5 moves. If you made all 5 of those moves, you save $28 million this offseason. That would leave the Panthers with about $41 million for free agency. So they have a good bit to re-sign players and sign external guys as well. The draft, though, you do have to pay for the draft class. Remember that. Rookies do sign contracts and get paid too. That would cost around $10 million. So you're really thinking $30 million? You might have to make a couple more moves there to shave some money for this offseason because $31 million is not a ton to work with for the open market, re-signing your own guys and also signing guys externally as well. So Panthers got to do some more money-making moves here over the next few weeks. We'll keep you guys tapped in. That's why you subscribe. But name a player that you want the Panthers to sign in free agency. Down in the comment section, who is it? Name them for me. I want to hear where you guys are at as far as who the Panthers should add to this roster. That will do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, youtube.com/Panthers Today, for the latest and greatest under Carolina Panthers all offseason. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, keep pounding.